Hello guys, Crispy here and welcome back to another Sunday video. In this one, my friends, we are gonna be testing the legendary GTX 750 Ti again. This time in 2023. Now, it's been almost 3 years since I made a full review on a GTX 750 Ti, and back in 2020 it could still handle even the most intensive games, although at reduced settings obviously. But yeah, that made it an absolute legend of a card, worthy of the most prized award in this channel. The hats off. These days, however, the GTX 750 Ti is struggling a lot, but that's to be expected from a 9-year-old entry-level to mid-range GPU, right? But this GPU has a trick up its sleeve. Unlike the other 700 series GPUs, at least most of them, it isn't based on the Kepler architecture. It's actually based on the Maxwell architecture, which is the same as the 900 series. That means that the 750 Ti, even 9 years later, it still supports the latest Nvidia drivers. Talking about the specs, it has 640 CUDA cores, 40 TMUs, 16 ROPs, 2 GB of GDDR5 memory. There's also a 4 GB model, by the way, but this one is the 2 GB, running on a 128-bit memory bus. It's also supposed to consume 60 watts of power, so most models don't require a 6-pin or an 8-pin power connector. And I said supposed because this card is actually insane when it comes to power efficiency. I don't know why the TDP is 60 watts, but in reality, when I'm playing games, and as you'll see in this video on the on-screen display, it never consumes more than 40 watts, and it's usually between 30 and 35 watts of usage, even less sometimes. That's almost the same as a GT 1030. This consumes 30 watts of power, this consumes like 30 to 40 watts. This is like 25% faster. It has more CUDA cores. It's from an older architecture. I don't understand. It is not supposed to be as efficient as this is, or even more efficient, right? But it is. Crazy stuff. But do you need to be crazy to run a GTX 750 Ti in 2023? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Let's test some games on this thing, shall we? And first up, we got the huge Cyberpunk 2077 at 720p resolution using the absolute lowest settings, aside from FSR, which is turned off at the moment, and we will turn it on in just a little bit. And yeah, over here, the crowd density is also set to low. As you can see, things are looking a little bit bad, actually. 720p is really soft here in Cyberpunk 2077, and it is already dropping from 30 frames per second. So if you want the native resolution experience, it's not gonna happen. So we should probably stop it, you know? Anyways, let's set FSR 2.1 to quality. Ooh. Everything got super blurry here in the menu. But the FPS jumped up considerably. As you can see, it is now hanging in there above 30 frames per second, even hitting 40 at times, but this is not an intensive area whatsoever. So let's get to one now and kill Bob. Now, back when this game came out, goodbye Bob, oh my god, that was awesome. Let's go around the roundabout. It's not dropping from 30 FPS anymore, and it's also very crazy in my opinion that a GPU like this, consuming 30 watts of power right now, can actually perform this well in Cyberpunk 2077. It's providing an enjoyable and playable experience. A lot of people would find 30 FPS, especially with a card like this, very playable, and the quality FSR at 720p makes it look basically like native resolution, so I don't have words. I actually expected this to be worse. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, are you ready for this? I don't think it's gonna launch the game, honestly, but let's try this out. There we go. Yeah, okay, this is exactly what I was expecting. The GPU just cannot support The Last of Us Part 1. I mean, even if it did, it wouldn't deliver a great experience, honestly. But yeah, it requires feature level 12.0 there, and this GPU only has DirectX 12 support feature level 11.0 right there. So it just can't open some of the recent titles anymore. But something that actually opens, and you should probably play on something like a GTX 750 Ti, is Overwatch 2 and other esports titles. We're playing at 720p resolution with 100% resolution scale and the low settings preset with medium textures. Alright, here we go. Start counting those frames, by the way, and it seems like it is somewhat of a high refresh rate experience. If you wanted more frames, you could use like FSR, which is included in this game, or lower the resolution, of course, but I think it's absolutely fine like this. You can actually play this competitively if you want to. Oh my goodness, what is my team doing? Where are they? Are we like 3? Well, there's only one of them here anyways. So right around 100 FPS is actually quite good. The thing is, whenever there is a lot of stuff happening and a lot of effects on screen at the same time, which we will hopefully see if my teammates decide to get close to me and close to the enemies, things tend to drop by quite a bit, as you probably saw there for a bit. And that is why I would utilize the low settings instead of other settings here in Overwatch 2. I want the FPS to consistently be above 60, 100% of the time, and this is the way to do it. Alright, here we go, here we go. Do something, Bob. No, actually no. I don't have Bob yet. And I don't want to catch Bob or to get Bob because I hate Bob in every single game. Even though Bob would be friendly here, I don't want him. And it's over already. Well, at least we got 69 FPS, 1% low. This was terrible. I always hate my gameplay here. Next up is Call of Duty Warzone 2. We're playing this one, or trying to at least, at 720p resolution using the lowest settings with FSR 2.1 on quality. This is it. Let's do this. Oh, so I've been waiting here for 5 minutes. And I just remembered that the 750 Ti sometimes crashes getting into Warzone 2, and when it doesn't crash right away, you only get to play like 5 seconds of the warm-up. So you can't play Warzone 2 on the 750 Ti for some reason. You know what else doesn't work? Battlefield 2042. I've been stuck here for the last 3 minutes. It doesn't minimize, it doesn't let me control alt delete, it doesn't do alt enter, doesn't change anything. I mean, I'm tired of staring at this girl, so I'm just gonna press the shutdown button. That's the only thing I can do, actually. Oh, look who it is again! It's staring at a, well, actually, she's looking that direction. Anyways, this is Battlefield 5 this time around, okay? This one actually works quite decently with the 750 Ti. We're playing at 720p resolution using the lowest settings, as you can see. And this is how you optimize a game, my friends. Like, this game is absolutely gorgeous. A bit soft because of forced TAA, honestly, but it is getting around 60 frames per second at 1080p low settings, and low settings have better textures than like The Last of Us on medium, for example. So I guess we've come a long way in terms of an optimization in recent titles, haven't we, my friends? Well, it's a shame, but it is running very, very well here on the 750 Ti 2GB model. There's a guy right there. Oh, no, there's another one. That 2v1 is not fair.
Sanitäter!
Sanitäter, please. No Zaniteta? Okay. Interestingly, teta is tit in Portuguese. So you know. He was screaming for tits. Just like I do sometimes. I'm pretty sure I actually tested Battlefield 5 in the 2020 video on the 750 Ti that I made. But anyways, it's still a very nice title, guys. It's come a long way since then. It's actually a good game these days. Especially compared to the newer 2042. Although I actually quite enjoy 2042, honestly. There we go, first kill. 48 FPS there. Some drops will happen inevitably, but you know, overall it's smooth, it is playable, it is enjoyable in my opinion. I could definitely have a lot of fun in this one. with a 750 Ti. And if you require more FPS, 720p is there for you. Now it's time for Hogwarts Legacy. We're playing this one at 720p resolution with FSR2 on quality, which makes it 480p and the lowest settings, obviously. And to a lot of people's surprise, this is actually semi-playable like this. If you lowered the FSR quality a little bit to like balanced or even performance, yeah, it would look like crap, but it would probably make it above 30 frames per second all of the time. But since this is a single-player title, I think I would prefer to keep it like this. But the best option really is not to buy the game if you have a 750 Ti, honestly, guys, because you will have some texture issues. As you can see, this is not supposed to look like this, by the way. And there will be a ton of little bugs here and there, especially when you find cats and try to pet them. Also, you need tons of RAM to run this game properly. If you don't have at least like 20 gigabytes, just don't bother, okay? Especially with a 2GB GPU. As you can see, it's dropping into the mid-20s now. Still no cats. Oh, there's one of them. Okay. Wait a second. See? It's not... Nothing is happening. I'm pressing F repeatedly. And nothing... Basically nothing happens. And now I'm just gonna go away and this will start and... It's mayhem, guys. I'm waiting for... You know what? It has a certain beauty to it. But I would definitely not do this. What is happening now? Why did it drop so much? It's too inconsistent, guys. It's too inconsistent. We were just getting like 30 frames and now we're getting less than 20. Alright, I'll leave this one. Now we're playing Stutter Night at 1080p using the performance mode and the low settings with view distance on far and textures on high, so competitive settings. Alright, here we go, and the first thing that I want you guys to notice is that the GPU utilization is gonna fluctuate a little bit. It's not completely maxed out, but that's just because of the performance mode and how it runs, because it's obviously not a CPU bottleneck, right? With a 5800X3D, that's crazy. And to achieve these FPS, all you need is something like an i7 3770 or a 4770. I've actually paired this card with a 3770K in the past, and it was good for around 130 frames per second, which... Oh, shut up. The freaking radio is always on. But yeah, it's good for around 130 frames per second, which is what we get sometimes here with this configuration as well. So we're fully GPU bound, even though the GPU usage isn't, if that makes sense. It's pretty weird, okay? But yeah, anyways, it's pretty solid, you know, even if you want to be competitive at this game, you can with the RTX... I'm used to saying the RTX, with a GTX 750 Ti. Alright, and that's good to know. You can play the game absolutely fine, 100%. Okay, we finally found some weapons. And there's a guy right away. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't have bullets anymore. What are you doing? What the? Okay, it's... Get over here, you... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. No way. No way. I thought this was going to be so much better than this. This is Sons of the Forest, of course, still in early access, so it's not the final game yet, and not the final optimization, but... Still, 720p resolution using the ultra-low settings. Wait, we can still turn off the ambient occlusion and lower some textures. But that's about it. Oh, and the screen space reflections as well. Okay, I will apply that. And that got us like 2 or 3 more frames per second, which is an improvement. You know, I'm not lying when I'm saying it is an improvement. It's still pretty much the same crap, though. But hey... Oh my goodness, no way. What if we use FSR1 and target like 120 frames per second? So it downscales the resolution a lot, you know? Maybe we can reach 30. Nope. It looks like a smudgy mess, and it's getting closer to 30 FPS, but it still drops by a lot. You know, at least it doesn't stutter as much as like Stutter Night, for example, so... I'll give it that. Maybe in the future, with some patches and stuff, it will be possible to play this. But at the moment, I'd stay away. Okay, this is Forza Horizon 5. We're playing it at 720p resolution using TAA and the low graphics settings, which isn't the lowest settings preset. That's very low and it looks terrible. Low actually looks pretty decent, as you can see. TAA does a decent job as well at 720p resolution. It's soft, but I've seen softer games. Now, I also tried it at 1080p resolution with the low settings, and it was dropping from 30 frames per second right here, so yeah, I wouldn't really use the 1080p res. 900p would still drop us from 30 FPS in city areas and stuff like that. So 720p is the way to go, in my opinion, with these graphics settings to achieve 30 plus all of the time and make the game look semi-pretty. Oh damn, we're going really fast. Please get out of the way. Okay, there we go. There comes the jump at 300 kilometers per hour. All right, we made it. And finally, the city area. By the way, if you are in a race inside of the city, you will get a couple of less FPS than this. Oh, we got a VRAM warning message. Interesting. But the good thing is, whenever you get those, if you have enough RAM as well, it will be fine. It will be smooth, it won't stutter whatsoever, and you can disable the warnings in these settings. We all know at this point that the tunnel is the most intensive part. 33... and 29. Okay, come on, 750 Ti. Couldn't you give me one more frame? It's good, guys. It will only drop whenever you get out of tunnels. So, yeah, Forza. Great game, guys. Next is the newly released Dead Island 2 at 720p using the low settings preset. And, guys, I was not expecting these FPS. It is actually above 60 right now. It will drop here and there inevitably, but I mean, the GT 1030 got down into the 20s at 240p resolution with FSR on performance and the 720p resolution, 240p or 360p, something like that. This one is running at native 720p with 60s. That's just completely insane to me. It has a little bit of stuttering, as you can see in the frame time graph, by the way, but it's not too obnoxious. I can't really feel it too much for some reason, and I've seen that stuttering issue with like the 3060 Ti as well whenever we were closer to the 60 FPS mark, so at 4K on that card. But yeah, this is just crazy. I don't know what to say. 750 Ti is actually not that bad of a GPU, you know? It has aged much better than something like a 1030, that's for sure. And it's older than that. That's crazy, man. Look at that. Fighting the zombies, it does drop a little bit further now, into the 30s even. That frame time is just crazy now. Oh boy, I need to heal myself. There we go. Explosions, 30s. It's not dropping though. Okay, get electrocuted, my friends. Let's grab this one again. Okay, there we go. You know what? We should probably move on. You get it. It's playable. I would still not buy it, but I can't deny this is super impressive in this game. And since we are into dead things now, this is Dying Light 2. That's why there is no light. Strong one, at least. Anyway, we're playing this one at 720p with FSR2 on quality, which looks really good in this one, and the low settings preset here. It's not minimum settings, it's just the preset. It could go lower, but I think it looks pretty nice like this, and it still performs okay-ish, right? It's 30s and 40s. It's also really smooth. VRAM is maxed out, but that's not a problem in this game. Well, that's a big boy right there. Let's go this way. I kind of want to go on top of a building or something. Also, notice that it's not raining here. That's very nice, isn't it? Almost up there. There it is. Looking at the entire city from above. Not a single issue. It's still not intensive, guys. Actually, down there is usually more intensive than up here. So you can rest assured that the 750 Ti is going to do a decent job here in Dying Light 2. If you get this game for a really good price, like on sale or something, maybe it's worth a try with a card like this. Let me know what you'd do if you owned the 750 Ti. So that's it for Dying Light. It's not running as well as Dead Island, for example, but you know, at least it's not stuttering like that game did. And it's also an open world title, so it should be more intensive, I guess. Look at all of that natural light. It's beautiful. It's not dying light anymore. This is dead space. It's probably why we can't really see anything. It's dead. This is also another case of the GTX 750 Ti not supporting the feature level that this game requires, so this ends up happening, and I can't really do anything again. Gotta shut down the PC again. Oh boy. Now for the last dead thing, we got Red Dead Redemption 2 at 900p resolution using the lowest settings with FSR2 on quality. And the game looks alright like this, as you can see, and it performs okay. I just wish the textures were better. You can actually turn those up in the config files and lose about like 2 or 3 frames per second in that process, but that would actually put us below 30 FPS, so I'm not gonna do that here with the 750 Ti. The fact that we're getting 30 plus, at least right now here in Saint Denis, tells me that it's gonna be okay. For the most part. For example, at night here, it gets a little bit more intensive, as some people told me, so it can drop from 30 FPS. And of course, we gotta get to the swampy areas of the game with a lot of vegetation to see the FPS dropping there as well. The game is running low on video memory. Interesting. So we also get a warning here in this game, although it does not stutter because of the lack of VRAM. Like, why is it that these older titles from like 2020 and older actually do not stutter whenever they run out of VRAM, and all of the new games do, even if you don't run out of VRAM? Oh, 29 FPS, I saw it dipping down into the 20s there, but since it's so stable in terms of frame time, I don't think that's a big issue here. You could always just drop the resolution 720p, use FSR2 on quality still. It's so close to 30 FPS though, look at that 30 flat right there. But it's more often above it than below it, so I'm okay. I'm okay with that, 29 right there. It's not great, but it's passable. Now it's Spider-Man Remastered. We're playing this one at 720p using TAA and the very low settings preset. And I usually say that this is well optimized, getting 30 FPS, but whenever you move your camera around, this happens. It's not playable, guys. It also happened with the GTX 1050 Ti, so it's not 750 Ti related, or only 750 Ti related, you know? There's nothing really you can do about it, it's just the way the game is optimized. You really need a beefy GPU if you don't want these fluctuations whenever you turn the camera around really fast. Yeah, it is not good. Also, if you're wondering, we got some upscaling methods right here in this game. IGTI, FSR2, and XeSS. I would probably choose IGTI, because this is close to FSR1, which is less intensive than FSR2. And it's still not enough for 30 plus all of the time. See that? 28, still not a good experience even like this, and if you turn your camera around, same thing happens. So the upscalers won't really save you in this one. Back to something adequate for the 750 Ti for once. 1080p resolution using the high settings. This one is on low because it just doesn't matter. Anti-aliasing is set to 2 times, MSAA, because you know, the game is very easy to run, and this is, of course, Valorant. Now, you could say that these FPS are only because of the CPU, and Valorant is a CPU-bound game, and so on, and that's true, like the part that Valorant is a CPU-bound game, but you can achieve these FPS with a much slower CPU as well. You don't need a 5800X3D. The CPU is actually... God damn it, every single time I play this, I just get wrecked. Stop! Anyways, the 5800X3D is capable of achieving like 500, 600 frames per second in this one, and we're only seeing 150. That's because this is what the GTX 750 Ti is capable of. So you only need to pair it with a CPU that is comparable in performance. Something like an i7 4770K overclocked, or like a 3770K overclocked. I've seen those CPUs running this game at like 150 frames per second. So you can... So at the end of the day, all you need is a 10-year-old i7 to achieve these FPS, and to have a competitive experience, basically, in Valorant with a 750 Ti. By the way, if you already have one of those CPUs and just want to play Valorant, and you can grab one of these cards for like 20 bucks, go for it. It's actually worth it. Like, look at that power usage as well. It's sipping power, basically. I got a couple of kills without dying. That's just tremendous. Oh my god, a third one. This is beautiful. We are actually in the top half of the board right now. Oh, yes. Oh, this is perfect. Another one. Oh, you had to ruin it. Yes. We got third place. I will be very happy with second place. Yeah. Nice. Second place is ours. Come on. Oh, yeah, boy. Get wrecked. The Crispo is in the house now. Please end the game while I'm still at second place, please. There we go, guys. 33 kills. That wasn't too bad. Usually it's much worse in Valorant. So, Elden Ring. This one, unfortunately, does not work on the Z750... What? What happened there? 750 Ti. Okay. It just gives us a white screen like this, and then it crashes after like 20 seconds. You know another Elder that you can play? The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. It's a good one. It will run perfectly on the GTX 750 Ti. It's very different from the Elden Ring, obviously, but yeah, since it's here, I thought I'd tell you. This will run absolutely fine. Okay, guys, we are here once again in the Steam library page because God of War doesn't work. It needs feature level 11.1 or 11_1, and once again the 750 Ti is only 11_0. Start to Chris, you got clear skies right now. You're good to begin the flight. Over. Yes, guys, it's Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm so sorry. 720p resolution. We're using the low-end preset with DirectX 11 API, and this is it. I'm not going to touch anything else. All right, my friends, welcome aboard of our ASXGS plane, which can fit 400,000 of us, definitely, right? Because the channel has 400,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for watching this video, by the way. And if you haven't, subscribe if you want to watch more videos like this one. And ladies and gentlemen, 40-something FPS is what we get around New York City with clear skies. That's actually a really good result. Jeez. Yep, it's a really good result. What is that? I don't care. Press D. The departure is taking place at 19:33 of the 29th of April, and we will probably arrive tomorrow, Sunday, during the Sunday video in Central Park here in New York. Now, in all seriousness, you know what's surprising me the most here? It's the fact that it's not stuttering whatsoever. It's Microsoft Flight Simulator without a single stutter. That's because we are fully GPU bound. I've seen more stuttering issues, for example, with a 3080 Ti at ultra settings in 1440p because it gets CPU bound, and this game stutters a lot whenever you are CPU bound and you don't lock your FPS. And finally, we have arrived in the Central Park area. This is our last destination. It's dropping into the 20s, higher 20s, but nothing to worry about. It's still a playable experience here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Thank you so much for flying with us, Crispy Airlines. Oh my goodness, this is fun. See you in the next game. Start to crisp. I'm pretty sure those are feet, right? Like that. No, those are planks of wood. Okay, that looks less weird now. So we're playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Next Gen Update, 720p resolution, using the lowest settings possible, aside from anti-aliasing, which we could use in FSR, but I prefer the native resolution. It looks much crispier, and I like it, okay? So it's getting alright FPS, as you can see. It's not too bad, it's not stuttery as well, at least not for now. But I've seen a lot of stuttering with other GPUs, so maybe that will change in just a little bit. But for now, it's okay, you know. I would still play the original version all day long, okay? Like, there's no way I would choose the next-gen update version over the older one. The older one could be played at 1080p resolution with a 750 Ti. It also could be played at, like, medium settings, I think, with decent FPS, 30 plus. So I'd go with that experience instead of this one for sure. But you know, if you really want to play the next-gen version on the 750 Ti, it is possible to do so. As you can see, it's not really having too much trouble running it. Anyways, around bushes and dense forest areas, it drops into the 30s at times. Oh, nice job, Roach, actually, on that one. Okay, stop. Can you stop running things over, please? But yeah, it actually runs really well. I thought it would drop more than it ended up dropping here. Now it's Resident Evil 4 Remake, the chainsaw demo. We're playing at 720p resolution using quality FSR 2 and the absolute lowest settings down here, of course. And to my surprise, guys, it's not terrible. And it is performing a lot better than something like the HD 7970 that I tested like a month ago in the channel. Even though it's kind of well optimized towards AMD, the older AMD GPUs don't really run it that well apparently, especially compared to older Nvidia GPUs. And this one is only consuming 32 watts and the 7970 was consuming 250 or something. So yeah, this is very surprising. Once again, 750 Ti is achieving 30 plus FPS. Now, of course, we are running out of VRAM and that's making the game stutter a lot. But you know, at least it's not as stuttery as something like Stutter Night. So I would say that this is playable. I would still not buy the game to play on a 750 Ti. But if you are a huge fan of Resident Evil 4 and you just can't pass this game and you only have a 750 Ti and you can't really upgrade it, it runs. At least in the demo, it's running. I don't know about the full game. Some people say that it's a little bit more optimized actually. So keep that in mind. But yeah. It's not completely terrible. Do I hear a Far Cry? Yes, my friends, this is Far Cry 6. We're playing it at 720p using the lowest settings here with TAA anti-aliasing. Actually, I'm gonna turn that off. You know, I don't want a blurry mess of an image right now. No FSR as well. And let's explode the crap out of our base. Alright, there's one over here. Okay, doesn't really drop our FPS. 40s. Should we get really close to this thing? Oh boy, am I gonna die? Wait a second. I got my ultimate. Oh yes, there we go. This is it. Okay, perfect. 30-ish frames per second, so it's not really dropping, guys. Well, at least if you have a GTX 750 Ti in 2023, you'll be stuck playing older games that actually work and are good as well. So have fun playing those older titles. Not necessarily the ones that I've shown you guys here in this video. Most of them were barely playable, you know. But older games like GTA 5 will run flawlessly, as I've shown countless times here in the channel with the 750 Ti. Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1 is a great game that you should definitely play on this thing. So yeah, there are tons and tons of good old titles to play on something like this GPU. Alright guys, it's that time of the video again, conclusion time, but I will still have CSGO running right here, as well as a bit of GTA 5 a little bit later, because these are games that you should probably play on a GTX 750 Ti. Anyways, is the GTX 750 Ti worth it for the latest and greatest titles? Definitely not. Stay away from this card if you plan on playing any recent game whatsoever, like from 2020 and up. Those are just not gonna work very well. You know, you could say that it's pretty much obsolete or dead for recent titles, but that doesn't mean that it's completely useless, and that doesn't mean that I won't recommend it. If you only care about older games, which are the better ones anyways, you know, or if you just want to play some esports titles, I think the 750 Ti is still a really good deal at around like 30 bucks or lower, especially given that power consumption. It is incredible when it comes to that. And also given that these are the most played games on Steam at the moment, you can basically play all of them with the GTX 750 Ti easily. Like, Apex Legends is probably the one that it will struggle the most in, but still, it is able to play that game, as I showed in one of my videos in Apex Legends testing this card. So yeah, even though the GTX 750 Ti drew its last breath already, I think it's still an absolute legend of a card. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.